Got a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff in my shed which I need homes for. So that part of the hedge has got to go. Oh, look at that view. So we're going to put a shipping container there. This one's got a few of the boards in the floor that are stuffed and it's all full of crud. The other one has similar issues. The floor isn't busted, it's got bits of concrete in it. Well, it's out. Floor's in. And I got a whole box of screws. And I got knee pads. And I got a screw gun. So I'll get into that and then we can work on something else. go, all the shelves are covered. And here we go. Whoa. We have lights. We have 4 lights. I have to say that's a success. It'll be like magic, it'll just be disappeared.
Bit sketchy, but we're up there.
So now you're caught up with that thingy at the start there, you've sort of seen what we're up to. And now let's get into this one. We've got some work on the 20-foot container. We've got the floor, we've got the roof, we've got a carport we're building, we've got hopefully the awnings, you know, the ones out the back window that everyone suggested that I should do, and I think it's a good idea, so I'm going to do that, hopefully, in this video maybe. Anyway, and a bunch of other little things. Anyway, stick around, we'll get right into it. Here we go. Well, that sort of looks sort of all right, doesn't it? It's blocked off, screwed down, semi-weatherproof. So we're going to switch focus for a moment, well, a day or two, and we're going to work on the 20-footer. Let me show you what's going on in here. Okay, it's got a bit of an echo, but bear with me. We've got a few holes in the roof, as I might have shown you before. So we need to repair that, either patches or a whole sheet. Well, not the whole roof, but the, you know, up to where it stops, where the holes are, which is just there somewhere. Now I happen to have a couple of sheets of material. I think it's 2mm or 2.5. Bit hard to see in the dark. I think it's about 2mm. And the wall and the roof, I think it's 2.5. So it should be fine. Anyway, I'll get up on the roof and do a bit of cutting. I'll cut it with the just with a grinder, with a cutting disc, and we will try and fit a sheet in. I'll probably have to join a sheet because I think these are only 2 meters long and the container is 2400 long, 2400 wide, sorry. So we'll start cutting that out and then we'll work on some floor, because we've got a couple of holes in the floor which have gone rotten because of that. Anyway, I'll get on the roof and start marking stuff out and we'll do a bit of cutting. Now that's a skylight. Anyway, let's get this piece of crap out of the way and clean up, ready for the new bits. Well, let's seal that end. Bit of black soot from the paint burning, but we're sealed. I might just run a beater sicker up in the corners all the way along that edge, and we should be right. Now just got to finish the other end. there we go. That rotten piece is gone, and I've left a piece of it's a layer, a couple of layers of the ply that was there, because the original piece is like about 30 mil, and the pieces that I've got are about 20 mil. So hopefully the piece that I've left in there is like thick enough to sort of give a flat transition, if you know what I mean. I can pack up this end and a couple on the bars, and then it should be sort of sitting flattish, kind of. Anyway, I'll cut a couple of bits and we'll be right. And like that, we have a new floor. So the couple of pieces just dropped in there. The only thing I got is this big gaping hole. Well, it's not a hole, it's just it's a hole. Anyway, so I'll just fill that with a bit of Sikaflex or silicone or something or other. Other than that, it's not too bad. Doesn't have much of a lip there. And it's all pretty tidy and screwed down. Now back onto the main attraction. So my thoughts are, that's one floor sheet, and this is a different one. So I was just going to follow this line, cut it all the way across, and just replace the back half. That's the thoughts anyway. So I've got to try and crowbar that up. Hopefully I don't need to get the digger in here, because I'll have to move all this other stuff that's in my way. So I might be able to just bust it up, being so rotten, and put a cut along here. Anyway, I'll get into that. So there we go, the floor's all cleared out, and I've knocked off all the rusty spots with a hammer and scraped out any crud. I'm not going to paint it or seal it or anything, not worried about it. It's just going to have a bit of ply on it, and it's not going anywhere near an ocean, and it won't get wet anymore because we've got a new roof. Should all be just fine. Anyway, let's get into cutting some bits of ply and see how we go. So there we go. Yeah, it took 4 pieces. Yeah, that's what I had. So it's all sitting in place. All I need to do is put a bunch of screws in it. I'll probably just do like 2 in each cross member. I won't worry about the ends or the outer area. It doesn't really need it because it's not going on a ship. So I might just put a bit of silicone or Sikaflex or something around the edges where it's a bit dodgy looking. And then we won't have ants or anything in there, it'll be good. Anyway, I'll do that off camera, and then I'll go and get some racking and put some racks sort of along this wall here. And then it'll be good for storage. Anyway, I'll get into that. enough for that side. I don't think I'll do any on this side because, you know, there might be furniture or big bulky items that I might want to put in here. So now I've just got to put some boards on the old Trilux. So I'll just see if I can get all these to fit and we'll be away. So there we go. All the shelves have timber all over them. I even found a bit of 70s, bit of veneer. Some old kitchen that I had laying around. So that'll be nice. Who'd have thought you could get a Jeep down under there? Now let's load some stuff in it. I need to do a bit of drainage work across from the containers here, which is like right here. I'll show you in a sec. I need to get that sort of sorted because water is going to go right into there, which in underneath, which is painful. We've had a couple of showers since and it's not good. So anyway, I'll show you this job and we'll get right into it. It's just things you got to do. So when you back a trailer down around that corner, you kind of lose half of it because I put that pipe there and it was the only spot I could put it because it was rock underneath. I had to use a ripper and all sorts with the digger to get it out. Anyway, so I've got that other little short piece and I'll come part of the way up this drain here. It's rock as well, so I'll just use a little ripper on the digger to bust it out. So once I put that pipe in, it'll come back. So it should come up to about where the stick is, just here. So then when you're backing something around the corner, you'll be able to back the wheels right over that corner and you won't be way out here somewhere, if you know what I mean. So by that piece of pipe finishing way up here, or starting, should I say, coming here, we'll be able to cut straight across. That'll be really nice. So anyway, I'll quickly rip all that out and then come back to you when it's done. Okay, that's the plane that I need to come out on with the pipe extension. And there's a little, right there's a little bump. I should be able to get that, but then if you go down further, there's this one. It's only just, but I've been digging around it, and it's a big ass rock. So I don't quite know how to, I just got to notch a little bit out of it. Maybe the ripper might bust the top. Man, that's a big rock. And my poor little digger, it's working its ass off. Because I only want to come up to here. So who put that there? Bloody hell. Anyway, I'll keep digging, I'll keep scratching, I'll get there. Well, that took a bit of chiseling. Poor little old jackhammer. So we're going from here straight across to there, about where that is. So I think we're right. Pretty good for height. Whew. Let's throw the pipe in and see how it looks. Pipe is in. And I got level on it. I don't want it level. Bubbles to that way. I probably could go up a little bit higher, but I don't want it sort of like out of the ground, if you know what I mean. It needs to be below ground so silt can get to it. And I'll dig the silt out before it. So that's about the height. Look at all that extra rock that I didn't need to rip out. Anyway, there's the brakes. I should have put the level on it to start with. My mistake, and it's not straight. So I don't want it straight because the pipe there sort of goes off that way. So I've just jammed it in there. I'll put a couple of screws in it to hold it in place and put a couple of rocks under a few spots here and fill it in. And I've got a little spot here so I can dig it out with silt and stuff as need be. Anyway, let's get into that. So there we go. I've got my corner back. So I can bring vehicle right in and tuck it in that corner and park it over there where the excavator is now. There we go, job done. I haven't done a final grade. It's flat and it's been rolled back and forth with the tracks. But the trench itself is going to settle. The soil will sort of compact and whichever. So once that's done, then I'll give it another blade over the top and fill in the little rut. Hopefully we haven't crushed anything, which I don't think we will. I mean, there's a couple 100 mil from the top of the pipe here to the dirt, and it actually goes uphill sort of over there. So the dirt, I mean, not the pipe. The pipe's pretty level. Well, it's got an even fall, should we say. That's one of the jobs that were needed to be done, so this ramp and everything would work properly. Anyway, let's get into something else. Okay, next on the agenda, we're going to do a carport off the side of these containers. Hang on. So I've got the tape marked out. I've got trusses that I made. You can just see the carport up near the house there. And I've got trusses left over, so I'm thinking of coming out to this edge, so bringing it off that wall and coming out this way, if that kind of makes sense. So then it'll cover, you know, these 3 cars, or the back edge of these 3 cars. Like, I mean, that's 5 meters wide, so they fit under. Just nice to have all this under here dry and so forth. That'd be nice. So I've measured it out, because they've got called a crow's? No. Anyway, it's called something. They go flat along the bottom of these trusses, and then they have a drop off the side. So the drop off the side is planning to go just on the edge of the top of this container just here. So that's the whole plan. So I've measured out to where it's going to be. It's just sitting there with a magnet on the tape measure. So that's the height it's going to be for these 2 beams. See that blue one here? Does that look familiar? That come off the old carport that used to be way up here. Anyway, so I'm going to weld that one on up there. Don't quite know how I'm going to suspend it, because I really don't want a leg here, because that'll be really painful. I might have to do a cantilever off the edge of the... Anyway, I'll work it out. So for the minute I can use an acro prop or something. So I'll mount that one up there, because these containers, as you've probably seen in the previous video, that they're not square, and like, I mean, that one goes at that angle on these. So anyway, it's just the way it worked out off the edge of the carport up the top, and I didn't really want to have this one sort of square in, because then I would have lost all this room here. So I thought, oh well, I'll utilize the space that I got, and because I can, you know, feather it out a bit, and I've still got room down this side to put a row of pallets of stuff if I need to. Anyway, enough ramblings. I will try and get this up there and weld it on, and then I can do an exact measurement, work out how I'm going to cantilever this off of here, and there's lots of things going on. Then I'll get the old jibby thing on the end of the excavator to lift the trusses out, and it just sounds all so easy. So let's just get into it and make a mess of it all. Anyway, sun's just about gone down, so I might just do it, take a couple more measurements, and then get back into it tomorrow. Anyway, let's get into that. Hey Scout, come to help have you, buddy. That's nice, good boy. Anyway, so that big blue beam there, some of it's blue, it's level and parallel with the bottom container. I measured it from both ends, and it's parallel to this container. So now I just got to weld it, and then put a bit of, I've got to work out how the heck I'm gonna mount that beam off of this container without having a post. Like at the moment it's just a acro prop. You know, even if I just put a bracket or something and a couple of bits of something, it's just got to be sturdy enough to hold the roof trusses and a bit of iron or whatever, and not tip this shipping container over. like we don't want it to whoop. Anyway, I will get into some of that. Oh, look at that. Not bad for a flux core. Anyway, let's make a bracket that end. How does that look? That don't look too bad, does it? I think it's just missing something, like I might put one or something there. Just looks a bit, I don't know, hollowish? No? Or should it just be a straight bit like that little piece there, straight? So if I just go straight, I'm no geometrical whiz. I'll just whack a bit of steel in there, eh? Yeah, let's get into that. So there we go, I'll whack that bit in there. And from a distance, it actually looks, hang on, let me, how's that look? Does that look alright? I think it's going to be structurally sound. Well, I'm kind of counting on it. Also put a little piece of something in between, you know, right there. Just so it was an extra point of being joined to the container, the shipping container. So I think it looks pretty good. I've also put a couple of welds onto the beam to a big chunk of angle, if you know what I mean. That's a bit better view of it. Really happy with that. Now I got to do the other one, way up here somewhere. That'll be fun. This one was easy in comparison. When the other one is up, I'm going to lop the end off this one. Because if you have a look, I want to have it so it's flush with the actual front of this container. So I'll just do a little mark, see where the angle comes out, the actual support angle. I'm going to lop it off about 10 mil past that and we should be right. But anyway, let's get into the other one. Some of you symmetrical people may have noticed that that beam there for the trusses to sit on, like they're going to sit along that way, it looks higher at this end than it does at that end. Well, actually it's dead level, dead bang on level with the spirit level. The container, the bottom shipping container, is actually about 100 mil higher at the back to induce any moisture drainage to the front doors, because there's no holes in the floors at the back or anywhere along except for hopefully the front door, if ever. But in saying that, there's a whirly at the back at the top. So hopefully any moisture, hot air comes out that way. But anyway, that's why it doesn't look like it's super level there. I assure you that the spirit level, and I'm pretty sure the bubble was at the right end, I think. Okay, so that's all welded up. So we've got a nice big long, hopefully long enough, bit of C-channel for this side. Now, because it's got corrugations, I want to try and like put a piece of flat across where it's, you know, going to be joining the building, because over there there's it's a nice big flat piece on the end there, and that's all good. But anyway, this has just got the corrugation, so I want to use a bit of this leftovers. Actually, this is the old roof, so it's a part of the roof, the piece of roof I cut out from the little container. There's a few bits that are okay, and I'm going to use this, but I'm just going to cut a little piece here. something that'll bridge across the two lumps, and we should be right. And then I've just got to put a piece angled so it's weatherproof in behind it. Mark it out, cut that one out, and we'll be away. So I'm just using what I got. So anyway, let's get into it. So here's my not patches, what would you call it? Supporting, yeah, it's like 4 or 5 mil thick. Plan for that is to weld it on right there. Bit of a pain of a spot, but that's where we got to go. So to make it look right. Anyway, the reason I'm putting this bit of flat there is a bit of support, so it'll give us plenty of strength, and we should be right, hopefully. So anyway, let's get these couple of bits here and chuck them in. A bit more welding, and of course it's a really sunny day and it's bloody hot. So I can't win. It's either raining and too cold, or it's too hot. Anyway, I'll stop whinging and just get up the ladder and bloody weld the thing. Anyway, I'll get into that. There we go, all welded in. Now I've just got to work out where the height is and put a little bit of angle on, and then we can run our big bit of channel off the top of it. So let's get into that. Okay, got a bit of sketchiness going on. Got a ratchet strap there. Got another one over through the trees onto something really heavy on the other side on an acro prop. And sitting on a little piece of angle way up there, clamped on. It's just sitting there. Man, that was an effort to get it there. I know it looks out of square, because it is. It's not 90 degrees off that container. It's parallel to this one, like I said before. Anyway, so now I just got to measure from here across to there and make sure it's the right dimension, and so that'll square it up. Then I'm going to try and weld it and then work out how I'm going to put a post. I've got to put a post in the ground right here somewhere to accommodate this somehow. But anyway, we'll get to that. Just have a breather, have a cuppa, and we'll be right. Anyway, let's get into all that and we'll go from there. So it's the next day, and I've got to try and drill a hole. Yeah, Jim dug a hole. Yeah. Anyway, bit of a fun fact that do you know what a stack of rocks, the true meaning of a stack of rocks is? I don't know about a meaning, but a word. That's called a can of rocks. I don't know why. C-A-N, I think that's how you spell it. A can of rocks. It's where you got multiple rocks on top of each other. I'll put another picture up of its actual meaning. But anyway, so I've got this can of rocks with the plumb bob and hanging off the thing there with a bit of string, because I know the post is level and I know the distance from here across the other one is level, is to the right distance because of these ratchet straps, nice and tight. And that end's all welded. Anyway, so I got to drill a hole with the old auger on the digger. So I'll put this can of rocks here, and now I've got to see if I can fit the auger under this beam, because I'll be able to reach it from that side, hopefully. Oh, sheesh. Oof. Anyway, so if I can't reach it from there, I'll be able to reach it from over there, hopefully, without hitting that strap. Oh shit, I didn't think much about this. Anyway, so I'm shooting from the hip we're just going to wing it and hopefully we're going to be right. So I've got the post in a little bit from the end, as you can sort of see, and hopefully we're going to be right. Anyway, okay, so the drill auger is hooked up. I'm going to start with the 150mm bit, like in diameter, because I think it's rock. We're going to have an issue over there because it's rock. And so I've got the auger, the rock tip on it, like they're all tungsten carbide edges and tungsten on the drill point. So hopefully we get through it, and if I do with the 150 easily, like really easily, I'll hook up the 300mm one that I got, and then I'll use a bit of cement, a bit of concrete around it. But if I don't, and I can only do the 150, because I'm going to use these big poles over here. Yeah, see what I mean by could be a bit of rock. Like there's a big outcrop over here, like really hard. And all this sort of busted up okay with the bucket and the ripper, just. And I'm just, anyway, we'll see what happens with it over here with the can is. Anyway, so these are the poles. There's 2 poles there. I only need one of them to go in the hole, and then because it's got flanges on each, I don't know what it was, I just acquired them. So if it goes in a long way, like I can get more than a metre, I'll jam one in there and cut the other one up to make it fit. Anyway, I'll quickly start drilling a hole. I'm gonna have to do it from this side, which is not a bad thing, but I'll be able to see it a bit closer. Anyway, hopefully I can get it under there, one drum at a time. Getting straight now. I think I hit rock. I think I'm through the rock and now just going into dirt. But anyway, let's see where it goes. Hopefully I've gotten through it. It's still going. Dale dug a hole.
Dale dug a hole.
Like the time I dug a hole.
Start of the patio.
Yeah. Right on centre. Right where the plumb bulb's meant to be. Oh, when you're good, mate. That's just what it all comes down to. Anyway, let's stick a post in it. Perfect. that should be fine now, hopefully, maybe. Let's hope and pray. So that end is just clamped there. Oh no, it's not going down because we've got this one. So wait for that to go off. And in the interim, I could probably put a couple of welds up there, like just on the top bit. Weld that on. And then this side is done. I'm pretty happy with that. I guess the advantage, because I used the 2 flanges because that's what was, you know, those posts and stuff that I had. And there was another little short one over there. And I just had to add 300mm onto the short one. So I made it to 900 to the bottom. Welded a few little things on it so it wouldn't pull out of the concrete. Now I'm quite happy with the hole only being 150mm in diameter and the pipe is 75, mainly for the fact that we've gone into rock. So the concrete itself is to stop it from going sideways, like forward and backwards or anything like that. It's not ever going to pull out of the ground. Just a bit more mucking around today with a bit of cleanup, and then I'll call it for today. Let that concrete do its job, and I'll have an early one. All blended in. You wouldn't know that it was an addition. Anyway, let's get some trusses on here, eh? So there we go. That's the all the battens are on finally, the roof battens. They weren't relatively easy to put on because you know, all the frames are all wobbling around like this because I haven't put crosses in them. I don't kind of think it needs it for this particular thing because it's connected to a shipping container, so there'd be no point. Anyway, what I've done is I started with the bottom ones, like the very bottom ones, and then on either side, and that made it a little bit more rigid. And then went the next one up, and about 900 to 1,000 mil. So, and then that was a bit easier on either side, a little bit less rigid. Then went the next one, and by the time I got to the top, it was pretty rigid. I don't know if rigid is the right word. There was no wobble in it anyway, so I had no trouble putting them on. Now the next problem I got is I was thinking about using tarps, like old billboard tarps and things like that, to put a roof over the top, and I've got a heap of them. That's no trouble, and they're very cheap, like $10 and each, and I'd only be putting 2, maybe 2.5 on there. But I kind of think that tarps, it's only a short-term sort of fix, and I'd have to come back to it again and either put, yeah, okay, Chook. So I'd either have to put another tarp over the top of it again in years to come, or I'd end up putting iron on there and flashing. And anyway, so I thought, where am I going to get iron from? I've got the flashing and I've got the ridge cap. I just don't have the iron. I've got some iron. I got a little pallet load. It's left over from when I built the cabin many years ago. But they're only 1,800 long, and I need 3,700. So even if I overlapped them, I'm still a couple of hundred short. So they wouldn't really work. I'd have to use 3 of them, like overlapping each time to make it, and I wouldn't have enough then. I might have enough to do like one side, maybe, not both sides. So anyway, then all of a sudden, like a couple of days later, I spoke with Gary from AMC Restorations, who helped me put the trusses up, and he's helped me with lots of other stuff. He's a really good mate. Anyway, I said, I'm thinking about putting iron on instead of the tarps, because I spoke to him in the past about putting tarps on, and he said, oh, your tarps are good, yeah. And he said, I got some old iron down there. It's probably a bit rusty, but it might be long enough. Come off an old Queenslander, so it's not zinc, it's actually galvanized, which you don't find much anymore. It's because it's an old Queenslander. It was probably made in the, I don't know, late 50s to 60s, so it was really, really durable. And but it's got a little bit of rust on some of the ends, and some of it's got tapers, you know, like where there's valleys in roofs. Anyway, so some of it will work, some of it won't. And he said, I got a whole bloody pallet load of it down there if you want it. I thought, whoa. And some people don't believe. Well, the Lord always provides. Anyway, so I just got to cut them up and use what I got and go from there. So let's start getting into that kind of stuff. And we should have a roof, hopefully, before the end of this video. That'd be really nice. Then I can get on to some other stuff that I promised to do, like the awning over the back windows. Yeah, I'm going to get to that. I will get to that. Hopefully it's in this video. Anyway, let's get on with it. Here we go. I'm having loads of fun doing these cuts. Not real difficult, but you know, just mark across there because it's on a bit of a taper. But look at all these ants. Every sheet. There's thousands of them. I didn't know these sheets came with free ants. Anyway, I'll keep cutting. All the sheets have been cut, like all the rusty bits off the ends. So now I think I've got enough to, one full side will be the 37, well I'm actually making it 3,800, so it's got a little bit more overhang. So I've got enough for one side complete. There's heaps of rusty bits, and the other side will be about half, and then I've just got to do a bit of patchwork for the other side. Anyway, let's get into it. Did I mention that I really don't like heights? Got one sheet on, probably another 10 or so, 15 maybe, I don't know, 10 or more to go. Just bear in mind that I'm going a bit slow because I just don't like heights, not excited about ladders, and I seem to do a lot of it. I don't know why, but anyway, I'll just get back into it. Here we go. So that's not too bad of a gap. I would have liked to go all the way around like how I did with some of these, but it was just too much work. And the other side's not too bad. I'm thinking about putting some flashing. I don't quite know how to handle the ribs though along the side, but worry about that another day. I will get to it, just probably not in this video. Anyway, got to put a ridge cap along the top, which I've got, and I'm going to do something with the front. So there we go, there's my front triangle bit. It's out of 3 pieces. A little join in the middle that you hopefully shouldn't see too well. Too much, should I say. It's the end of the day, the sun's just about gone down, it's overcast and looks like it wants to rain, but it looks like I've got the roof just the way I wanted it, which is nice. And the ridge capping's on. Yeah, I got little gaps up there, but that's a bit of flashing I've got to sort of work out. So tomorrow morning I'll try and get this front triangle thing on. So that looks alright, eh? Yeah, there's that old rustic looking flashing sort of matches the rustic looking rust, if that made sense. Thought I'd tidy the corners up of the flashing, make it look a little bit more respectable. I'm not planning on putting a gutter on or anything. but I do have a problem up there. I'll show you from the underside. See that gap there? All the way along. Now I've tidied it up as close as I can get with the corrugated iron, and like some spots are, you know, like 20-30 mil away, some are touching. I need you guys to give me a bit of an idea on how am I going to put flashing there, because you can't just have normal L-shaped flashing because of the corrugation, because the corrugation's in the what's there. So because that's not flat, makes it really difficult. So I'm just wondering if you guys got any ideas, can you just leave a comment below in the comments on, you know, I'm looking for a few different ideas if you can to try and seal it, because at the moment I don't really have any other way to seal that other than, I don't know, it'd be a lot of spray foam or expansion foam or something. Anyway, leave us a comment if you can on any ideas. I really need some help with that. Besides that, I think I'm nearly finished with the carport. Nearly. Now I've got to do it left-handed on the last one. Wish me luck. How's that look, guys? Looks alright there? Let's go there. There we go. Can you see it there with the going into the sun? I hope so. Anyway. Well, I got a little water up here. Did I ever tell you how awesome the view is up here? Bloody nice, eh? Oh, there's my shed. So we'll pack this up with a bit of plastic wrap, and then we'll get into putting the tops on, those awnings, and then we're nearly done. I think we're nearly finished. Okay, now all I gotta do is get this steel from here up there. I guess I need a crane. Maybe I should make one.
That's welded on.
Okay, that's the awning itself is finished, and the bracketry and everything associated with it. Other than we have a gap. Now I think I can fix it. I could have gone to the trouble of, when I was cutting all of these off, I could have cut it on an angle, so all the low spots would have been in on an angle. But I thought that was going to take me freaking forever, and it probably would have. But what I'm going to do is, because it's just a little bit lower than this, what if I just use a piece of ridge capping like that bit? So I might just sit that over the top, pop a couple of screws on, and we're pretty much weatherproof on that aspect. So I'll do that, and then we got jobs done. That'd be awesome. Anyway, I'll get into that. So there we go. That's pretty much it for this series, I think. We've done a heck of a lot of stuff. It's taken me over 12 months to get it to where it is. We've moved 4 shipping containers, poured 5 or 6 cubic meters of footings. We've craned all the parts into place with a 25 ton, actually 2 25 ton cranes, and fabricated heaps of, anyway, it's been a massive undertaking, and I'm really glad that you wanted to come along. And for those who have made it so far, consider subscribing if you haven't already. It helps out the channel a heck of a lot, and it helps me keep making these kind of videos. I know they haven't been coming thick and fast, but I've been busy doing this kind of stuff. It takes a lot of work. Instead of just doing little bits each week, I thought it would be more value to you guys if I did one big long video. Like this is going to be over an hour, I think. Well, you'll see how long it is, and it's got a lot of stuff in it. It's jam-packed. Anyway, really appreciate you watching. The next couple of videos, I'm going to do some racking and storage type solutions inside these containers and below the containers. So hang out for that video. I'm also going to be doing another video on the plasma table, the Unimig Stealth plasma table. I've got a bunch of little projects for it to do, and one of them involves this. So you'll see that coming up soon as well. And yes, we're going to get back onto the Brumby. You can just sort of see it in the background there in the dark. I will be getting to that. Thing is, I've just got no time at the moment because I'm been building all that stuff, but it's all pretty much done now, so I can get on with the things that I really want to do. Anyway, I really appreciate you guys hanging around, and if you want me to carry on doing this kind of whatever I'm doing here, consider buying me a coffee. Like, there's a link in the description, and if you got any questions or anything, buy me the coffee, ask me the question, and happy to help you out. I really appreciate you hanging out for this long with this part of the series, and I will catch you on the next one. See ya.